I mean, I was in Dallas for the whole time, and they are who they are.
Yeah, they are who they are.
But
we better.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
The Next Man Up podcast is presented by Lansdowne Resort. From kickoff to check-in, score a game-changing getaway in the heart of Loudoun. Lansdowne Resort, proud partner of the Washington Commanders.
Commanders family, welcome into another episode of Next Man Up. And this brother right here, I ain't got to talk to him in a minute. I've missed my guy. It's good to have him in the studio. We got some different lights on him today. But welcoming in our Next Man Up, Dorance Armstrong. D, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm solid, brother.
It's good to see you, man. It's crazy. We were just talking off air, and we was like, the last time I think me and you got to really rap, you had just signed here. Mm-hmm. So much has changed since then, man. So much can happen in a year. Can you just talk about what this last year's been like since you joined the Burgundy and Gold?
Man, it's been nothing but growth on the field and off the field. It was a new place for me, new people, so just having to maneuver, find my way. This is my first time really almost living out of Texas other than college, so coming up here is completely different. So, man, just a lot of growth.
Man, me and you both actually moved here from Texas around kind of the same time. I think I got here a year before you, and it's different. The DMV is very different, but I don't know if I've ever seen a community or fan base that truly loves their team like here. Have you ever witnessed anything like that?
I mean, I was in Dallas for the whole time, and they are who they are.
Yeah, they are who they are.
But
we better.
Yeah, for sure, 100%, man. Coming out on game day and just feeling that energy, and they bring it every week. The weather be perfect too, so it's like, man, we getting the best of both worlds. So I'm loving it right now.
I mean, clearly you loving it, and it's showing on the field, man. Before we even got to the season, we heard a lot from our defensive coordinator, Joe Whitt Jr. on you. He says you're a complete player. When you hear things like that, what does that mean to you? Because he described it in his words, but what does it mean to you when you hear your defensive coordinator say Dorance Armstrong is a complete player?
I appreciate it, man. I work so hard, man. I've been playing football since I was 4 years old and didn't even really know I was going to be this who I am or make it this far. But at each level, I just continue to be a student of the game. And even when I got here, I'm year 8 now, but my first 3 years, I wasn't really on the field like that. I was sitting behind guys I was watching in the league as I was a kid, just taking all that in. So to this day, I still I thank those guys, and they probably don't even know it, but I learned so much from guys that I was a fan of as a kid, and now I'm applying that to my game. I feel like I owe that to them because it means so much to me that it was those guys that didn't even know who I was as a kid, looking up, watching them, being productive in the league, making a name for themselves, and then over the years I get to learn from them how they did it and get a chance to do it myself.
Remember when we first met and sat like this and talked? You said you just needed an opportunity. And I'm going to give my boy some help real quick because he is sweating right in the face. My man straight out of practice, yo. Came right here straight out of practice, got more practice to do. Like, that's how dope this is that they sit here and take the time. So you good sweating, my boy. But you said you just needed an opportunity. You said you needed a place that was going to allow you to do your thing. Because like you said, you sat behind some dogs, right? And you were just waiting for your chance. Now you've had that opportunity. Now you've gotten it. Now you're the man on this defensive line. What has that opportunity done for Dorance Armstrong?
It allowed me to show what I can do and be more productive. Last year was my first year here. I was getting a feel for the guys, the new team, the new surroundings and all that. But now, second year in, I'm a lot more comfortable, a lot more aware of what's going on. So I'm just able to play a lot more freely. And
that shows on the field. 2 sacks already. You had 5 in total last year. What's going right for you so far? Yes, we're only heading into week 3, but what's been going right for you so far?
I mean, everything, bro. The film study, my coaches, the work from the off season, just literally putting everything together. I feel like each year was something that I was learning, like steps of how to master one thing. And now that I'm year 8, I feel like I've mastered a lot of those things. Now it's literally cooking in the pot.
And I think you bring an interesting perspective because much like your experience with Dan Quinn, you also have an experience with Joe Whitt Jr. He was the secondaries coach when you were on the defense in Dallas. Now he's the defensive coordinator. You've got to see him grow along with you. What has it been like playing under Joe Whitt Jr., a defensive coordinator who has done so much and accomplished so much in his coaching career?
For sure. And he's a guy who believes in rushing, covering, and when you literally have guys who's covering and rushing, the game goes our way. Sacks, turnovers, picks, pick sixes, and then you just see how much fun we're having. And so when that stuff is presented in the meetings, it sounds good and it make you feel good. So now we go out there and practice, we instantly make that stuff happen, and that's the type of impact he has.
And I don't know if you know this, but, we do our research here, and PFF has you with 11 QB hurries this season. That's 5th in the NFL. Not 5th on the team, that's 5th in the NFL. When you look around you, because this defensive line is a new-look defensive line, you got a lot of new guys on there. How is this working so well, not only just for you, but for that entire defensive line? Because we're seeing a bunch of guys being able to show out.
For sure. We got that confidence in each other. We know that everybody can play any position, and the work, the study that we put in together on and off the field, on Sunday, we just come to cut it loose.
And we lost a key member of our defensive line in Dietrich Wise. Man, this a gentle giant, if you will, like one of the nicest guys,
Absolutely.
man. What was that like? What was your conversations been like with Wise? Because we've all been there, right, where we got to overcome this hurdle. We got to overcome an obstacle. This is a big obstacle for him. Have you been able to talk to him? What has that been like being there for him?
Man, I know him on a whole nother personal level, so immediately when it happened, it was heartbreaking for me. But he had his surgery. I shot him a text message. He probably not gonna want me to share this, but it was so impactful for me. After the game on the ride back, he flew back with us, and sitting down chopping it up with him. He was in a little bit of a better spirit than he was when it happened, but as he was talking, he just broke down. Like, he was laughing, talking in mid-convo, he just broke down. And, like, I just remember the stuff that I could hear him saying on the field, and so I know how much this meant to him, and I know how much he meant to the building, because every day he come in, he's probably the first person in here. Energy level on 1,000. Even if you're just walking in the building, he got jokes. He want to make you smile, laugh, all that. So now that's going, the room's a little different. The building's completely different. But he's for sure always remembering. You can definitely feel that his presence isn't here no more.
I remember talking to guys like Coach Sharif, and he'll say a guy like Wise is somebody we got to tell to relax a little bit. Like, he's always doing so much. Like, we want him to be able to preserve that. But I got to imagine that affects somebody like you, right? Like, Wise has won the Super Bowls. He has been in the league a little longer than you. What have you been able to learn, not only from Wise, but playing next to guys like Deron Payne, being able to be a leader to a guy like Johnny Newton, even a guy like Jean-Baptiste, who's a 7th-round pick? I got to imagine all of you guys are helping each other grow in different ways.
For sure. For me, I think it's always been a challenge to be more vocal. All my life, people was telling me that you're a leader, you can be more vocal, but in my eyes, I look at it as I lead by how I play, my examples. Now that I'm older, man, I can say what I'm feeling, and I know how to deliver it so guys can get the message. And that's with Wise, me and him will have talks, because sometimes I don't know how to say what I'm feeling other than when I'm angry. But I can talk to him. He can calm me down. He can give me a different perspective, how to go about it, how to handle it. And so, yeah, man, that's just who he was.
And when you have guys like Joe Whitt Jr. imploring you to be that leader, saying, hey, listen, we understand you like to do it on the field, but we want to hear you be more vocal. What has that journey been like for you? Because you are a very, very quiet guy, very, very chill, but I'm sure you understand why having a vocal leader as well on this defensive line is very important.
For sure. I mean, it all comes with experience. You got guys asking questions that, they can ask a coach, but they'll rather ask a player who's out there doing it. That's the type of things JB do. And he always testing my knowledge. So he keep me on my toes about the installs and stuff, because there's some stuff I forget, So he come question me, what we got on this? Okay, we learn together. So that's all this is about. This is a group project, and we all got our input on it.
And you talk about that emotion that was around this whole team when you do see a guy like Wise go down. We've lost some other guys as well. Is there an extra motivation? Does that galvanize you now when you lose such an important piece to the puzzle to say, you know what? Not only do we have to get this done for the squad, but now we got to get this done and find success for Wise as well.
For sure. I feel like, me personally, from the experience that we shared on the field when he went down, that was what I told him, man. We got a mission to complete, and we just getting started. So every week we're gonna give it what we've been giving, give it more, getting better, and just just trying to find ways to win and get better. That's all you can do.
And we're hoping for a win this Sunday, right? When you guys take on the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll be back at the crib for the second time, man. What can Commander fans expect from not only Dorance Armstrong, but our Commanders defense?
Well, y'all already know our offense is electrifying. So when y'all bring that energy, they going to turn up. And our defense, we're going to do the same thing. And that's just who he is.
And Dorance, before we started this, I asked you, I said, how many years you been in the league? You said 8 years. 8 years, right? The average lifespan for NFL players is like 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've made it 8. That takes a level of longevity, right? And our partners at Lansdowne Resort, they like to know that you're getting it done on the field, but they also want to know that you're giving yourself some downtime, that you're relaxing. How does Dorance Armstrong spend his downtime, and how do you manage to take care of yourself so well to be able to play 8 years in this league?
Honestly, bruh, it took me a while to learn that routine too, because when I was younger, I came in at 21. Everybody know when you're that young, your body just feels good naturally.
You do whatever you want.
You do whatever you want. You don't gotta. You think you don't gotta do as much as recovery, but you get 4 or 5 in, you start getting banged up. Cold tubs start being mandatory for me. That's my first one. Normatex, always a massage, cupping, still stuff like that. Like, it sounds minor, but it's really major. And people outside the world wouldn't know about it like that for real, but that's the stuff we got to do to stay right.
I love asking you all these questions because the answer's always interesting. And Deron Payne said, you know what his was?
What's that?
Everybody else said recovery. His was snowboarding. Can you imagine Deron Payne on a snowboard?
Nah. But he sent us a picture in the offseason. He was out there doing it. I was like, I don't even know what to say.
So you ain't gonna snowboard?
I would love to, but right now, nah.
I'm glad, brother.
Nah.
Stay off the snowboard at least for now. And then final question, man. We said it, 2 sacks already. You had 5 sacks last season. What is the goal? What is the expectation that Dorance Armstrong has set for himself?
Man, I don't even want to share. I just want to continue to go out there, have fun, be productive, and come out here and win games.
My brother, that's what we love to see, man. Commanders family, our next man up. He's having a hell of a season, and I know he's going to keep going. He came here straight from practice. My boy sweated, but still showed us love. Our next man up, Dorance Armstrong. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Commanders family, for our next man up, we have a legend that I've been waiting to talk to for a very, very long time. Not just because he's one of the best to ever do it in the burgundy and gold, but because he has such a story to tell, and he's conquered and endured so much. Welcoming in 2-time Super Bowl champion, currently holds the sack record for Washington, Mr. Dexter Manley. How you doing, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Better than good, better than most.
Oh, man, I love that. And like I said, you have a story to tell. You have gone through so much in your life, in your career. I don't even know where to start, but from the beginning. Let's start right at the very beginning. 1981.
Let's start at the beginning.
The 5th round of the NFL draft in 1981, the Washington Redskins decide to draft a defensive end in Dexter Manley. Back then, when you think about the young Dexter Manley, did he truly know what he was up against and in for when entering the NFL?
Not really, but I tell you, at Oklahoma State, there was a few guys that had played in the National Football League, still currently playing, and I was out in the football field getting ready for, they wasn't a combine, but I was just training, and these guys would come talk to me, and they would tell me, as a rookie, they told me to go talk to the special team coach and tell him that I wanted to play on special teams, because that's where you're going to make the team, on special teams. And I did that. When I first got here to the Redskins at Redskin Park, I went to Wayne Sevier, and I told him, I want to be on special teams. He put me on special teams, and in my humble opinion, I was sensational. And from that point on, I started my third game going into my rookie season. I was in the starting lineup, and I've been, ever since from that point on, it's been great.
Wow, you earned your keep. And I think that's something we talk about a lot, especially the draft just ended. We have a new season upon us, and these young guys earning their keep. And we've seen it. It's a lot easier said than done, right? It's not always easy to humble yourself enough to be able to say, hey, I'm willing to do whatever is asked of me. When you look back at that rookie year, and honestly, those first few seasons in the NFL, was it tough for you?
Not physically. See, I've always felt everywhere I've been, I was head and shoulders above my peers. That's just the way it is. Yeah. I think the difficult part is getting adapt to the National Football League, all the outside noise and the entertainment part of it. That was a little challenging for me because I'm a guy from Houston, Texas, a big city, but at the same time, you get caught up in all the different activities around town.
So when you mentioned those activities around town, what about it made it difficult for you to be able to just focus on the football thing? Because again, somebody like me, fans watching this right now, I don't think we can even fathom the things you were going through, especially back in the early 80s. Can you talk about that a little bit, and what were some of those things that really made it tough for a young brother of Houston to deal with?
Thank you. Thanks for asking that question. Well, I remember I was a rookie, and in Washington, there's such a strong fan base here. And I went out. A lot of the Redskin players would go to a place called powerhouse. It was on M Street, right across the street from Clyde's. And I went there and I had recognition. And I want to tell you something is that the females would come talk to me. I would talk to them, and it was never that way when I was in college. But I started having some success, and I would see the females, and I'd talk with them, and they would entertain me, and hey, and we just had fun. Had fun.
And within that fun, of course, you're young. You're experiencing things you've never experienced before, and you're just having a good time. You don't think you're not harming anybody in your mind. You're just doing what your peers are doing. When did you start to realize or feel, or maybe it never happened, that maybe what you were doing wasn't necessarily the best for what you were trying to accomplish on the field?
That's a good question. Well, my first year in the league, I really just focused on football, and that was pretty much it. And I think going to my second or third year, had a little bit more exposure. And so a lot of things was coming at you, whether the females coming and you're going to Pall Malls downtown. That was sort of a distraction. And I would say that it was a little difficult because, then the females coming in. And I remember, I just remember this young lady talking to me and about football, and she was telling me what she saw, and she was sort of informative about football. She knew a little bit about football. And she asked me, we just had a conversation, and it was all football.
And Dexter, when you go and look at that time, was it hard to realize what you were going through in the moment? Because during this time as well, yes, you're doing these off the field things that I don't even think most people are aware of yet at this point, but you're on the field and you're making plays. You're getting those sacks. You're doing all of the things the team needs you to do on that field. Did that make you feel at times like, okay, I'm not doing nothing wrong because the product on the field isn't hurting? Did you go through that?
Well, I tell you this, as an athlete, professional athlete, you have to get your rest. And so when you go out on the nightlife, it could be difficult, but I felt that at that point in time, I was tunnel vision. I was, my whole dream has been getting to the National Football League. So I was definitely focused on that my first couple of years in the league. And I stayed focused.
And Dexter, that's what you did. That's what you did. You did do your absolute best, and that's why you're so revered by this fan base. That's why I was so excited to sit and interview you. And again, thank you for being open, your candidness, because on Next Man Up, we like talking football. We like talking about the person and the player. And while I was preparing for this, I'm even talking to my producer and my director, and I'm like, man, I don't know where to go with this interview, because a lot of times on Next Man Up, we take this time to tell y'all stories, right? To explain the things y'all are going through as men, not just because it's interesting to the fan base, but because you guys offer an interesting perspective that'll help a lot of people, whether athletes, young men, young women, and the things that you all have been through and the stories that you guys have to tell helps people in so many ways. So I just want to start with saying that, because we definitely don't want you to talk about anything you're uncomfortable with talking about. We just want to hear how the man overcame, because we saw the NFL player. We saw the Super Bowl champion. 18 and a half sacks isn't easy, right? But I think I wanted to do your story a service. I didn't want to do you a disservice by only talking about football, because again, what you've been able to overcome in your life, that story, that journey, and I know it's something you take pride in, helping the future, not only of this game, but the future of this world. So Dexter, we really appreciate you. And when you look back at the things you were able to accomplish on that field, when you look at the things you were able to accomplish as a Redskin, regardless of the off the field stuff, you had 18 and a half sacks, man. 18 and a half sacks is still a record for Washington, man. When you look back at your career, especially that year, 18 and a half sacks, man, what went right in that season?
Well, I tell you what went right. I was so dedicated because I had the talent, I had the skill, and I wanted to put it to work. I went to George Mason. I ran hills from the day that the season start. Before the season started, I was going to George Mason 3 days a week, running hills, and I put myself in a mind frame that I'm going to do what's best for me and for the Washington Redskins. And I did that. I worked on my speed. I worked on everything. And I did it. And that what was important to me is that all the outside noise I never got involved with. You know, I wasn't going to Paul Malls anymore. I wasn't hanging out at 11 or 12 o'clock downtown in D.C. Yeah, because I knew that football was my vehicle, and I had the ability to do whatever I needed to do. And I did it. And I did it. And I didn't get involved with anything outside of football at that time.
And we love to hear that, and it showed. And to accomplish those kind of things when you are growing as a man, when you are trying to figure out life, you can't do that by yourself, right? There's people in your corner that help you along the way. And when I think of a coach like Joe Gibbs, who was very hands-on with you, man, can you speak on you guys' relationship and how Joe Gibbs helped a young Dexter Manley become one of the best defensive ends in the history of the game?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Coach Gibbs had a strong faith. He didn't judge me, but he helped me in a lot of ways. Is that I would come to his office and we sit down and talk. He was more like a father figure to me. I had a father, but Joe Gibbs was something special because I trusted him. I believed in what he was saying, and I wanted to do what's best for myself and for the team. And more importantly, I wanted to make Joe Gibbs proud that he drafted a guy from Oklahoma State in the 5th round.
Drafted in the 5th round, not an easy feat to do, man. You've accomplished so much. 2 Super Bowls. Again, you hold the record for sacks for Washington. When you look back on your career, all of these moments that you've had, what is your favorite moment? What stands out to you the most?
What stands out to me the most is that we were a team. I tell you what stands out to me. We went on strike. Went on strike in I think I want to say 82, and we stuck together. And I participated. Some guys went off and did their own thing, but I was always present because I knew that if we stuck together, that we will achieve what we wanted to do, is go to the Super Bowl, and we did that. I mean, offensive players was out there running plays, defensive players, we was over here doing our thing, more conditioning, going through plays. And see, I tell you something. What helped me is that I had a learning disability. And when I was at Reston High School, when the strike going on, we was going over the plays, over and over, redundancy. And then I picked up the system. Because when I started as a rookie, it was difficult because so many plays, you might have 75 plays, and you have so many different plays that it was hard for me to assume all of that. Because Joe Gibbs had faith in me, they didn't put me on the bench because I did what I needed to do. I made plays. And therefore, that boosted my confidence because the coach believed in me and I believed in myself and my teammates believed in me. So that was a real experience. And I just never forgotten that, how that those players helped me along the way because, like I said, I had a learning disability. But Joe Gibbs and Richard Pettibone and Torgeson didn't say we're going to bench this guy. I made some bad plays, but they were all out. They were effort, had a lot of effort. And they kept me in the starting lineup. Plus, I can get to the quarterback, too.
And you mentioned this learning disability. And when you look at a guy like you, especially back then, right, this massive man, successful across the board in his career, high school level, college level, now the pro level, did you have a hard time opening up to guys like Coach Gibb, opening up to your teammates about this learning disability? I got to imagine that is not something that's very easy for a man to open up about and admit to.
Well, it was such a big secret for me because as a kid, when I was in elementary school, I was in special ed. And I didn't want to be in special ed because I felt like that I didn't need to be in special ed. And so from that point on, I was always embarrassed. I looked at my shoelaces, and I didn't want anyone to know that I had difficulties. But along the way, when you make plays, people embrace you. I forget about that. I didn't want to keep looking at my shoelaces. But I had help from some of my teammates. They'll tell me what the plays are. I knew my responsibility. And they didn't never give up on me. That was a big thing. See, I know a guy from Houston, Texas, my high school, went first round with the Miami Dolphins. He didn't learn the plays, but they benched him. And Jimmy Johnson sent him to the Jets. And he played a few years, but he was out of the league probably within 3 or 4 years. He was a hell of a football player at my high school. Not with me, but he came after me. And so that Joe Gibbs and Richard Pettibone, they knew what I had. And they wasn't going to bench me because I wasn't going to bench myself because I had the fire in my belly to keep going. Despite what anybody said, I had the fire in my belly to keep going. That was real important to me.
And when you're having a learning disability like this, and you're still successful on that field, and you look back at it now, there's no real reason, if you're still winning, if you're finding the coach that looks out for you, if everybody's embracing you, for you to say, you know what, I want to overcome this learning disability. I want to keep working at that. But that's something you decided to do. So much so, now you help others with similar learning disabilities. When did you decide on your own that, hey, okay, yes, I know that people are accepting me for who I am, but I want to work on this. I want to get better at this. I want to work on this thing that has been holding me back for so long. Did you have that moment with yourself that made you say, you know what, okay, this is time for me to even work at this even more?
Yes. 1986, November the 18th, Monday night, we was playing the New York Giants. And I can remember standing on that sideline and I watched Lawrence Taylor take Joe Theismann out. I knew then that if it happened to Joe, it could happen to me. And so I just felt compelled to come forward. First, I went to the lab school. Lab school is for adults learning disability. See, if it wasn't for Joe Theismann to go down, I would have never confessed that I had a learning disability because I looked at my shoelaces for a lot of years, but I surrendered. I knew that if one man could overcome something, so can I. I used to talk to famous Amos. He had a learning disability. He would call me. If he could do it, I could do it. And I did. I went to the lab school. I went there for years. See, I used to couldn't read the Washington Post. But I read the Washington Post in about 3 years. The lab school helped me get over that. And I did that. I'm able to make good decisions. But at the same time, it was a hell of a journey. And I don't never forget it because it made me a better person. Made me a better person, and I can make better decisions. And so what I did learn is that if people have difficulties, can't reason, you just have to make good decisions. And I know this for a fact, just from going around the country talking, from getting help, is that people that can't read and write, they wind up in the prison system because there's no hope. Yeah. And so once I learned the football plays, I felt confident that I can go out and play my best. I could be the best person that I'm meant to be. And I tell you, it's only by grace that God allowed me to overcome my obstacles and all of my life. I've overcome obstacles, and I'm grateful, and I never want to forget it.
God is good, ain't he?
All the time.
Amen. Amen, Dexter. And now that you're on the other side of it, right? Because you admitted it took you a little while to even want to admit that, hey, I need help, or I need to work on my reading. I need to work on my writing. Now, when you get to the point where you have worked on it and you're seeing the benefits in real time of what that was, did you have those feelings? And I think a lot of people probably can relate to this, where you're like, I wish I would have spoke up sooner. I wish I would have got help sooner. Do you have those feelings?
I have to say that, yes, but the system, I'm going to say the system from not necessarily elementary, because there's no organized sports in elementary. From middle school to high school to the college, I would say that it helped me to keep pressing forward, because the people embraced me who's in power, who could have set me back. I thank God that they didn't set me back to say that we can't have you here. You can't learn the plays. You got problems. But those people passed that. See, in my high school, I'm just going to go back there because that's where it starts, is that, see, football in Texas is king. All across this country, it's king. And those people embraced me, even though I went to class, but most of the time I was given grades. I was given grades because I was a hell of a football player, number one. And in the state of Texas, as I said, I'm being redundant, that those people embrace the athletes. So for that alone, it didn't help me to face reality. From Oklahoma State, from Yates High School to Oklahoma State, pretty much the same thing. Wherever I've been. But even when I went to Washington, I had to learn the place. See, the coaching staff, we used to go on the field before practice. And go walk through, redundancy. And that's what I like about Joe. He understood that I had difficulties, but they compensated. They said, we're going to go on the field before practice. We get out there, we go through all the plays over and over and over and over. And I made, at that time, my second, third year, I picked up all the plays. I could play fast. I ain't got to be thinking about what's my responsibility.
You talk about this journey, and you're on the back end of it, right? It's really easy to reflect on a journey when you're on the back end of it. And you talk about how grateful you are for all the things you have went through. So I do have to ask you, is there anything that Dexter Manley would change about his NFL career?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would change my decision making. I wouldn't want to go down to Pall Mall all the time and have some young female say, "Hey, let's do this here, let's do that." Yeah, because I grew up in the hood, man. I grew up in the hood, and I've seen a lot of stuff, but I stayed away from that. And now you got females coming at you, saying, "Hey, let's have." I wasn't even drinking when going to Pall Mall until my second, third year. I never had a drink. I wasn't smoking nothing. See, when I was at Oklahoma State, those guys were smoking marijuana. They can't tell you that Dexter Manley was in that room smoking marijuana with them. Jimmy Johnson can tell you that. When he came there, he ran 17 guys off. And so I'm on the other end now. I'm grateful that I drew the line in the sand and I haven't looked back. I'm coming up on 20 years, clean and sober.
Amen.
I can read and write today.
Amen.
I can rationalize. All that kind of good stuff. And I didn't do it by myself. I had help. Had a good wife. The lab school helped me because I wanted to help myself.
And Dexter, that's why these testimonies are just so important, because there's men in real time dealing with what you had to deal with back then. And now things are even more different, right? There's even more temptation. These teenagers are getting millions of dollars thrown at them before they even make it into the pros. So we appreciate you so much. And I think it's very important, like you said, you're on the back end of it. You're 20 years sober, man. What a blessing that is. Because I told this to Chris Baker a few years ago. We could be talking about you and not with you. And to me, I think it's just such an honor and a blessing to be able to be talking to somebody like you, not just because, again, you're the best to ever do it, but because you're able to help so many other people not have to go through some of those trials and tribulations you went through. Because like you said, there is young men today that have those kind of temptations, that are from a small town, from a big town, and are getting opportunities and looks that they've never gotten before. And I know you take pride in helping the future of this game. Can you talk about that a little bit and how you've been able to help younger generations of athletes and just regular everyday people be able to get past some of those things you've already overcome?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say that sober is alcohol. Getting clean is another kind of, it's chemical drugs. So when you say sober, that's different than, that's AA, being sober. NA is clean time. So I'm saying that the 20 years I got is clean, not being sober, because I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't drinking. So what I'm saying to the young people is that you have to make your mind up. Look in the mirror at yourself and decide what you want out of life. But it ain't easy. See, it's not easy. I had a praying grandmother who prayed for me. And so because of that, I had to have some faith in me. See, I came from the hood, man. I don't want to go back to the hood because that's where that was going to take me. I had to stand up in the mud. That's what I tell the people. Hey, you got to face yourself, face reality. I can go on and on about that, but I'm not in the meeting room today.
But Dexter, let me tell you, man, I can sit and hear you talk about this all day because, again, it's one thing to have trials and tribulations, but it's another thing to be able to overcome it. Not only overcome it, but be able to speak about it and help others with it. And again, it's just so impressive knowing what you were able to accomplish on that field with all of the different things that the human being, Dexter Manley, was dealing with. When you look back at your Washington career, right? We're just talking about on the field now, right? Because at the end of the day, that doesn't go anywhere. No matter any tribulation you've been through, any issue you've had, they can't ever take what you did rocking that burgundy and gold on the field. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take your name out the record books. That's in there for life, right? You're going to always be heralded in Washington. When Dexter Manley looks back at his career on the field, how does he want to be remembered by his peers?
That's a good question. Well, I can just tell you this here. I don't never doubt myself. I'm gonna use the word, I was a great football player. I could do it all. I could get to the quarterback. Hey, listen, I could run a quarterback down. I could do whatever I wanted to do. As long as I was in the right frame of mind and had the support behind me. There's nothing that Dexter Manley couldn't do on a football field. Nothing. And I stand on that.
Amen. And there's nothing the man Dexter Manley can't do today, right now. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Everything you've accomplished, everything you've been through, everything you've overcame, and you're still here to talk about it today, man. I'm just so honored to speak with you. There's so many layers to the man that is Dexter Manley. And I just appreciate your candidness and your openness, because I know these conversations, especially too, me and you are just meeting. These conversations are never easy, but I'm telling you, there are so many people, I'm sure they'll let us know in the comments, that need these testimonies, that need to hear these stories, but also just want to hear from Dexter Manley and know that you're doing okay. And I can tell by looking at you, you're doing better than okay, and God is good. So it's just so great to see you, Dexter, and I appreciate you taking the time.
And thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. The first of many, right?
You got it.
Commanders family, our next man up, Washington legend, has a true story to tell. Reach out to him and give him his love, because we are lucky that the brother is still here with us. Our next man up, Dexter Manley. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Commanders family, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Next Man Up. You can stream all the episodes of Next Man Up from even the past seasons on the Commanders YouTube page, or stream the audio wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate our Commanders family so much. You helped Next Man Up get nominated for 2 People's Choice Podcast Awards, Best Male Hosted and Best Black Male Hosted. We couldn't do that without y'all love and support. We appreciate y'all so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and follow, and we'll see y'all next week.